You're now listening to Sanity at the Movies. I don't even know what kind of an edition this is. Wet edition?
Mondo Paganism edition?
Mondo Paganism edition? Sure.
Yeah.
Pregnant, maternal, like somewhere
Warrior
between
ladies.
Warrior Lady edition. You know, I would say of all the Warrior Lady movies that we've watched on this podcast, and we've watched many, this one is a little old-fashioned, kind of. I mean, it's got a very, well, I don't know. It's got a very patriarchal kind of story arc to it, ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Father's job is to protect. That's
father's-
what gives him meaning.
Right. I mean, there's going to be people that are like, it's the most patriarchal movie of all time. I'm stupid. That 2 lines of dialogue, and I'm so desperate for something to own and feel like I can be a part of. I'm lonely. There's going to be those people. And I'm not one of them, to be clear. But I just thought, when's the last time I've seen a hero that's a man? I mean, probably very recently. I don't know.
See, that's the genius of Cameron's feminism, man.
Right.
He's going full tilt feminism, but he's giving you some actual healthy masculinity alongside some toxic masculinity.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now
Now, by
good fatherhood and good warrior motherhood
right.
together in harmony.
In harmony, just like a lot of things are
The
in
way
harmony.
it should be.
Well, you know, they've dropped the facade of having to connect all their horrible propaganda to a story that works and appeals to a schmo like me, by and large, in like the Marvel universe and across a lot of these franchise, Star Wars. A lot of people are afraid the new Indiana Jones movie is going to deconstruct Indiana Jones. I don't know whether that's true or not about that one. But the point is, it was nice. It's nice that Cameron's kind of old-fashioned enough that he's like, well, I want this to connect to everybody. So, you know, we'll have a male avatar. See what I did there, guys?
I see it.
You see it, Ben?
I do.
You look so excited.
In 3D.
In 3D?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just saw this movie in 3D. So this movie is by no means a triumph for the patriarchy. It's just very boring warrior woman kind of stuff, but all in the package of a traditional kind of a story. So does that make it better or worse than...
I'm not really sure.
I think it makes it more effective. So I guess that makes it worse if it's a more effective poison pill. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it certainly made it more enjoyable to watch a movie where I didn't have to put up with the male hero actively being demoralized, undermined, and mocked for the entire movie. It was just kind of more the 90s style of he's too tough on his kids and or something, I guess. Anyway, folks, we watched Avatar, The Way of Water, James Cameron's long gestating sequel to a film that came out in 2009. Nobody even remembers the guy's name. That was the joke that the internet made a lot because they're all sheep that say the same thing, except for us.
We're sheep that say different
We're
things.
sheep that say different things. That's absolutely
Part of a
right.
different sheep herd.
Yes, we're part of a different
That's
herd.
right,
I didn't
buddy.
remember his name.
Hey, it's Jake Sully.
I remember it now.
My Jake.
I literally just, we walked out of the theater, got in the
I remember
car, drove
Jake.
here, and hit record. So
Right.
I remember Jake
My
because I
Jake.
remembered
Yeah.
my Jake.
Yeah. Well, your
How
Jake,
could
of
you
course,
forget
is
my
Jake
Jake?
Menzel.
No, I'm talking about the movie. My Jake. You know? Avatar.
Yeah. Well, that would be Sam Worthington.
Right.
Do you think this movie would be better or worse if Jake Menzel, our friend, played the lead?
Oh, man. I don't know.
I got pretty tired of Sam Worthington's accent.
Yeah, he's not really an actor. He's like a C-level star.
Yeah. Yeah. Who gave the best performance in this movie? Sorry, I know we're all over the place.
Oh, man.
We'll rein it back in a second, folks.
I don't know.
It sounds like you just want to throw your thoughts on the table. So why don't you just go for it?
No.
Who gave the best performance?
No, Jake, I asked for your thoughts. I didn't throw any thoughts.
You already told us who gave us the best performance in the car.
I did.
Yeah.
But
You said Sigourney Weaver gave us the best performance in your judgment.
But I want to hear what you have to say.
I don't
about it.
have that many thoughts about the movie.
I didn't like Sigourney Weaver. Sorry. I mean, visually, she gave a great digital performance.
Yes.
Okay.
that may well be what I mean.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Just in
that's,
terms of playing a gangly teen, the animators did a nice...
that was
Nice job.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She was the most standout personable.
Oh, like this person has
Personable.
body language that we can read
Agree.
and respond to
Agree.
on some emotional
But then I
level.
could hear Sigourney Weaver
Yeah.
smugly playing a... Anyway, I did not like it. Same I am.
Well, all right. We'll rein it back in before I dump all my thoughts on the table.
I just think you should dump your thoughts on the table. This is fresh out of the theater take. What are we supposed to do? Act like we've considered it?
Well, the only thing we should probably do before we do that is say baggage check. Does anybody in this room care at all about the original Avatar? And did you ever care about the original Avatar? And do you like Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I really love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think that's a really cool show.
Okay.
And
you absolutely adore the M. Night Shyamalan adaptation.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
It's pretty hilariously bad. But so you love Avatar: The Last Airbender. We've got that far.
Sure. I'll go with Jacob.
It was a lot of fun to show that one to my kid. I actually watched it for the first time with my kids, just looking for something to sort of slow work through here and there, throw on. And we were getting ready to dump our Netflix account, and it was on Netflix. And I was like, we'll give it a shot. A lot of people love it. Gave it a shot and really enjoyed it.
There you go.
Aang's cool.
Yeah.
Aang's cool.
I like Uncle, what's his name? Uncle Iron Shanks or something.
Uncle Ira
Yeah, he's
or
cool.
something. Yeah, he is.
Prince
Zuko is the man. Hero,
Yeah.
thank you. But Prince Zuko is
Obviously, yeah, Zuko's
just awesome.
What about Jim Cameron's immortal classic from 2009, Avatar?
Yeah, I think my experience of Avatar was I definitely in absolute protest. Just did not want to have anything to do with it. Didn't see it in theaters or anything like that. I don't think. I'm pretty sure. I know I've seen it. I know I've seen it all the way through. I'm pretty sure it was one of those. It's like on Redbox for $1. It's 2011. And I'm watching this for science. And because there's nothing else in the Redbox that looks interesting. And at least this will be colorful.
Fair enough. Ben, same question?
I saw it in the theater back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Did it come in around Christmas time, right?
Yeah.
Like this one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember who I was with. I basically hated every minute of it. I mean, it was a very competent movie. It has, like this movie, it has acts. It has like, here's the first and second and third act, and here's the setup and the payoff, and here's the villain. He looks kind of bad. Oh, he is bad. And then, you're going to get a big fight with a mech, which is cool. But for all that, I really hated it.
What drew your ire? Why not just say, it was stupid? Why hate?
Because it hated me, because it hates God, because it's like, here's a world that's just exists to be pagan and to be sort of environmentalist, neo-pagan science fiction world where everything's connected, a pantheistic world mind where all the creatures and the people are connected. And it's like Eden and paradise, and the dumb sky dwellers, i.e. man, are the villains, and because they're trying to mine unobtainium. Which is still one of... That's so funny to me. I don't even get it. Maybe Cameron was also in on the joke. I don't know. Maybe he was. But
He had to have been, right?
I think he had to have been. It's just too funny if he's not. It's just too much.
It's pretty corny. I mean,
it's so far.
it feels like the kind of thing you put in the first draft of the script. Oh, we'll come up with the actual name later.
And then as a
then you
joke,
fall in
maybe
love
you
with
leave it.
because
it
was
It's so blatant.
hilarious.
Yeah.
and-
Maybe that's it.
I mean, we've had things like that in our little writer's room.
But then we
where-
make jokes about them. This movie played it 100% straight. Nary a sideways remark about a thing. It's same with Avatar: Way of Water. Yeah, there's no sideways, there's no cynicism, there's no irony. And I think that's why people like them. They're just old-fashioned, like you were saying. Even the feminism is old-fashioned.
That's why I liked this one.
Yeah.
I got a big kick out of, for example, there's a scene where he says, well, actually the better example is they talk to whales and the whales are subtitled. And I gotta love a movie where the whales are subtitled, and I gotta love a movie that's about like the corniest 1970s hippie sort of save the whales, like no irony, no additional layer, just evil corporate military industrial complex idiots are trying to kill the whales for some reason.
to mine a gland in their brains and then dump their bodies back into the ocean. Yeah.
It's something, what was the word they made up? It wasn't ambergris, right?
No, but it was very close. It was like
Yeah.
It's some play on ambrosia or
Ambergris would be the stuff you get from whales, right?
yeah, well, I think it
see.
linked them together
I see.
because remember what it does is it
stops aging, right?
It stops aging. It makes you like the gods.
That was a fun detail that they did absolutely nothing with. But
Well, there's 2 sequels left, right?
at least
2,
one.
3?
We'll see if this one makes enough money.
Okay.
My Avatar baggage is I just did not even have a take. I just missed Avatar. I don't know why. I mean, I was very plugged into the pop culture at that point, I think, but I don't even remember responding against it. Like, oh, everybody loves Avatar, I'm going to stay away. But I just didn't see it. I think I didn't see it for a few weeks and everybody was talking about it. And then I didn't see it for a few more weeks and everybody was talking about it. By the time I could have seen it, it was just like, well, the conversation's
moment
done.
had come and gone.
Yeah, it burned bright and burned for a while, but then disappeared. And so, yeah, I just didn't.
It was in 7 different, sorry, not the first one.
This one?
This one was in, I counted 7 different theaters in our theater.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All within an hour start time.
Yeah, and ours was, we went to the IMAX 3D because of course, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
But
You want a headache.
yeah,
the rest of the
we
day.
have massive headaches. But it's still what you should
3
do.
hours with 3D glasses on, buddy.
Oh man, my eyes,
goodness.
I don't know how the science of that stuff works, but my eyes would stop working for like my eyes would still work, but like the 3D would start failing, and then I'd blink or shift my position a little bit.
Did you ever see this?
Yeah, well, you can't
Magic
turn your
Eye
head, you
books?
can't turn your head because of the way the slants work. You can't turn your head, can't tilt your head to the left or the right, so you have to have your head straight up and down perfectly.
That must have been what I did.
And that's part of it. So if you start to drift off to the side, then everything gets blurry. It's so bad.
Did you guys ever read the Magic Eye books or whatever they were
Sure.
called?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I remember doing that, and like after I could see the image, I would pull away and I wouldn't be able to focus on words.
Mm-hmm.
It would take several seconds or a minute or something for my eyesight to come back to normal.
Yeah.
Same thing. Right?
Well, the disaster of this movie was the trailer for, I want to say it was Ant-Man, the first 3D thing we saw.
Quantumania.
Horrible.
And it was like bad retrofitted 3D, but also like
Yeah.
my eyes were just like, and Cameron is way better with his 3D. Like he is, you can argue whether 3D ought to be a thing at all, but
he shoots with 3D cameras for his movies to be in 3D.
Right.
He doesn't retrofit it like that trailer obviously was.
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't separate things out as much often. I mean, there would be a few show-offy scenes, but a lot of times it'll all kind of,
It's a little more subtle.
it just adds a little depth, and
Yeah.
it's cool. And there'll be a little smoke and
Yeah, it is cool. It's
stuff.
amazing special effects.
So I totally missed Avatar. I caught up with it, I want to say like 10 years later. I mean, a couple of years ago. It was on Disney Plus, so it was at least after the advent of Disney Plus, and I turned it on and watched about half of it, and I was just like, well, whatever this was, I missed it. Like, I can't even tell whether this is good or bad. Watching it at home, probably it was very profound experience in 3D and a giant, Pandora, all that. Like, I can understand. I'm not immune to those sorts of charms, as we'll see when we talk about this movie, but it was just like this movie was not made to be experienced late night on Disney Plus.
13 years later.
13 years later, like, and special effects had moved on. Like, it didn't. The character animation just wasn't up to snuff with the best of what we were getting from Thanos and stuff like that at the time. I would say the environment animation is still better than what Marvel gives us. Like, Marvel just, I don't know.
They're lazy.
They're lazy. They rush things.
Although some of this stuff in that Quantumania
Looks cool.
trailer did look cool.
It did,
in terms
yeah.
of the environment.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, this was the first time that movie interested me at all. I was like, oh, this is actually, they put some elbow grease into this. I don't know.
No Oppenheimer trailer.
No.
Very sad. Okay, so that's our Avatar. I should say I like Jim Cameron. When I was a budding movie lover, I read unauthorized biography of James Cameron, and that I think took his career through Titanic because that's all he had made at this time. But he's a fun, once you've exhausted Spielberg, he's a fun guy to read about and learn about and watch his movies because he's so classical and
technically skilled, like Spielberg.
technically
Well, and
skilled.
that was the big fun of this one.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's a filmmaker who knows how to make movies.
Right.
Very technically sound, very structurally sound. This is a very sturdy film.
Yeah.
You know?
And I miss that. The Marvel Factory.
You just don't get a lot of it anymore.
I mean, the last big franchise film that was like that, and it was a bad movie, but at least it had that quality, was maybe Rian Johnson's Last Jedi. I guess Matt Reeves' Batman.
That's what I was ready to jump on you for saying that.
And I got in ahead of you. But those are the two. Everything just feels so
Mass
manufactured, anonymous, and just not quality. So
Yeah.
that brings us to Avatar: The Way of Water. Now we can dump all our thoughts. Who wants to start?
I'll start because I already my thoughts are basically the same as what I already said, so we'll get them out of the way. It's a lot of paganism. It's a lot of white people stink, and the idea of being made in God's image and being over creation, it stinks, and you should just be one with the planet, and technology is bad, kind of. It's just a whole wash of these gorgeous, gorgeous images, really detailed environments, and beautiful stuff happening that's all part of this like neo-pagan pantheistic thing. Just wants to sort of wash over you like an ocean and make you love it. And I think actually, I wonder how successful it'll be at that. Because I think in its way, it's persuasive. The same way being bludgeoned is persuasive. It's like 3 hours of this stuff. It gets to you.
Well, people, you had all those news stories. Maybe they were just trying to fill space, but back in 2009, you had all the people can't leave Pandora. They go back 13, 14 times. They just want to live there.
Yeah. No,
I want to plug in and become Navi or whatever it's called.
Right.
It's an alternate Eden, basically. It's like Eden before it's spoiled, and this movie is about...
Yeah, but it's Eden for the pagans.
That's right. It's Eden for the pagans. Yeah, and I think, because I was trying to think of, like, what does Cameron want out of this? And I think that's what he wants. I think he wants a vision of Eden. I think he believes a lot of simplistic environmentalist stuff. This is my good faith reading.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think, so I saw an interview with Cameron where he talks about this movie and he says, the first movie did what it could for native cultures and for the environment. That's what it was intended to do. And then he took the money from the first movie and he went away and he did things for real native cultures and actually for the environment. And he did, and he thought that would be much more fulfilling and much more gratifying and much more useful to the world. But he did it for long enough, and then he said, "I realized, even though Avatar, I will fully admit, is very simplistic, I have such an audience, and I can reach so many people on such a large scale with these basic messages that I should do that. That should be my contribution to the cause." So yeah, this is absolutely proud to be propaganda for earth worship, for feminism, for hippy dippy, save the whales, and I think it'll be persuasive. It's easy. The movie's so darn sincere and played without humor at all that it's easy to reject it. There's
a lot to laugh at.
There's a lot to laugh at, but there's a lot of kids that'll grow up with this and it'll inform their worldview. I think that's true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, will they grow up with it or will they see it one time and expend 3 hours on it and then forget about it because it's not a property that's consistently being shoved down their throat? I know that 3 is coming.
Right.
How quick is that?
They've already filmed it. I don't know
what.
I think they're probably waiting to see what this one actually does, which according to Cameron, it needs to make $2 billion to even break even.
Yeah, well, you know what it doesn't have is superheroes or laser swords, or it misses a whole lot in terms of like how do you play act this, and how do you enjoy it? Like, how do you continue to enjoy it? How does it live and stay with you if you're a kid? It doesn't have a lot of that. It's visually immersive and enjoyable, but what are you going to do? Go grab a stick and dance around and play and hiss at things? Like,
I think dragon riding is cool, and space dolphin riding is cool. Not on the level of lightsaber, but I think that would be my somewhat paltry counter argument.
But those types of things are always really hard to play at.
Yeah,
like
you'd have to do a version of Cowboys and Indians with Navi versus.
Well, that's what it is. It is a
right.
Yeah, it's Indians and Cowboys.
Right.
Haha! Look at our take on that.
Yeah.
But all the people with the mech suits and the gear and stuff like that are all the bad guys.
Yeah. And although Jake Sully is the closest thing to a proper hero that we've gotten in cinema for a while, the women do get some of the cooler like arrow stuff. And
oh yeah, his wife gets like the coolest.
Yeah, although interesting, she gets nothing else. I mean, it is what's it is the kind of thing that an actual smart feminist would be mad at. Actually, Like she's not a character. She doesn't get to do anything. Actually, all she gets to do is cry and
Be angry.
and lean on
And then
Jake,
be a weapon for 5 minutes.
argue with
10
Jake
minutes.
Sully and then do what he says. I mean, she's actually
And then turn into a feral mother cat creature who avenges her children.
right. Which
Yeah.
Cameron, I mean, famously with Aliens, created an archetype of the not just a woman warrior, but a mother warrior. When Ripley goes back to save Newt and fights the alien queen, it's mom versus mom
in an awesome mix.
in an awesome Mexico. I mean,
It's pretty
I
fantastic.
love that scene. And she says, "Get away from her, you jerk." She doesn't say jerk, but I mean, it's Cameron's. So, and then he created the other iconic mother warrior in what's her face, Sarah Connor and
Oh, yeah, of course.
T2. So, but yeah, he doesn't give.
What Cameron films have you not seen?
I think I've seen them all. Maybe
feel
not
like I
Piranha
Still
2.
look.
Is that a movie by Cameron? Was that his first?
Just
Yeah.
look at his
I haven't seen that.
director credits.
And when I was a kid, at some point, we discovered maybe
Xenogenesis.
what's the Abyss? Like
Mm.
Piranha 2.
discovered the Abyss.
I liked The Abyss.
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot as a kid. I don't think I'd like it now.
I doubt I would
I
either.
haven't
But
seen The Abyss. That's one I was. So that the first two,
he's not very
the
prolific.
short, the Piranha. No, well, he hasn't done anything since.
Well, he waits for
I've seen True Lies.
True Lies is
I haven't seen that.
about as good a movie of its kind as you could ask for, although it's got some sex stuff that I don't recommend. I mean, The Terminator's a classic. Aliens is a classic. The Abyss is interesting. T2 is classic. True Lies is fun, minus a striptease or two. And then it's just Titanic and Avatar. Like, you could spend a weekend and watch this guy's entire filmography. He takes a while to let these projects percolate. But you can tell, like, you can actually tell he took time to write this script with his giant writer's room and get everything in place and figure out the mythology. And there's a couple plot holes and loose ends and things that we're talking about on the way home, but it is much more well done and just a basic story,
pretty
story beat by story
thorough, well
beat.
constructed. Well, and it is like it's hard to know how much of the mythos, how much is PR in terms of going, what actually went into this film. But they say that he hired a linguist and worked with the linguist to develop that language and the sign language.
The actors all apparently spent months training to do the breathing, your Wim Hofian kind of stuff, so that they could be underwater.
It's just deep dive. It's just proper diving.
Kate Winslet now has the record for the longest, for the actor who has held her breath the longest underwater. I think she did 6 minutes. Now, the guy that actually has the record, who's not an actor, did 26 minutes or something like
Yeah,
that. But,
That's
the free diving is
crazy.
ridiculous.
yeah.
And it's crazy dangerous, and it is Wim Hof style stuff. It is like, but it is amazing what you can do. I tried it once, not free diving, but
Right.
just hey, if I do this method, how long can I hold my breath? And on my second try, I held over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this stuff really, really works. Like,
It's crazy.
I had no idea I could hold my breath that long.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I did it in, just like lying on my bed because I was afraid I was going to pass out or whatever. I just wanted to see, but
Mhm.
it's like, no, this stuff really works. Like you can really do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's scary to think that people are going to go try it
Yeah.
without supervision based on the instructions given in a James Cameron movie.
The instructions basically being to be one with the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the basics are there of you breathe with your diaphragm, exhale slowly, clear out the oxygen, clear out the everything that, stays inside, but slow your heart rate down, all that stuff. But yeesh.
Yeah. Where were we? What were we talking about? Avatar?
Kate Winslet held the
Oh, yeah.
record.
Kate Winslet. Well, I guess we are just saying the story beats are like Marvel. It's just like
Just the care and the
Yeah, I
detail
think-
that he went,
most of the characters track. I mean, they're very, very simple. But if you think about how many times we've complained in Marvel movies, like, why is that? Oh, that character had to do that for the plot, and this person is behaving completely irrational and
Now
rationally.
now he hates Spider-Man. Now he loves him.
Yeah, now he's trying to cure the villains. Now he's trying to kill them. There's all that kind of stuff that just changes from moment to moment to moment and feels so absolutely arbitrary. And this movie, I would say, doesn't really feel like that. I mean,
No.
Sam Worthington has one character trait. He wants to protect his family. Father's protect or whatever it is.
Colonel
Our
has
family is our fortress.
Right. Hey, the Colonel had 2 character traits because he ended up
That's
actually
true.
feeling
It's
for
true.
his son. That
It's-
was
it's true.
a little extra piece of
For-
characterization.
For not his son.
Or, yeah, for his.
Yeah.
No, he was probably the richest character in the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, they brought him back from the first movie to be spoilers to be the villain in this movie and all the sequels.
Yep.
Which
Or at least
which
the next
takes,
sequel.
takes something on Cameron's part.
Yeah.
I'll just bring him back.
Why not? And he'll be a
Now he'll be a 2.5 dimensional villain
right.
instead
Well-
of just a 2-dimensional villain.
I was really hoping that they would just kill him and then bring him back again, but like a bunch of him. So we'd get like 6 of his clones.
Like Agent Smith.
That would be more
Agent
fun,
Smith,
actually.
yeah, that's what I was hoping.
Hey,
That's what I was envisioning.
the franchise is young. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? We still don't know.
Well, yeah, he could like he's now survived and gained some experience, and now the next ship with like 25 Colonel clones can show up. And some of them can be, human, and some of them can be Navi, and it'll be awesome. And then we just go full George Lucas on this thing. That is part of, I think, part of the saving grace of my movie experience was my mind constantly being drawn back to George Lucas, and then just sort of thinking, if George Lucas did this, I would cut him so much slack.
Mhm. And he would do a worse job.
And he would
honestly.
not be doing as good a job in terms of
actually writing a story that tracked.
and so, I mean, I think from just getting through the movie and enjoying the things that were to be enjoyed, that really helped me to just be like, yeah, if George Lucas were doing this, I'd be like, George, you mess of a man, you built a crazy thing, and it's awesome and terrible, and I love you for trying.
But
He would not, even his he does have his stupid religion
I know.
that he forces down your throat,
But it's
but he
not
doesn't
as-
force it down your throat the way that Cameron does, and it's
every
not
image.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this was just that I was in the mood for the movie. That really could be the entirety of why I liked it a little bit better. But I do feel like there's different sort of phases that you go through in your maturation with this stuff. Like when I was young, I thought Trinity was such a cool. I thought Warrior Women were cool. I just thought it was cool. And then I got to a point where I was like, "Ooh, this is really bad. I don't like this. This is misleading our culture." And I wasn't wrong about any of those things, but I felt threatened by it somehow. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, "Haha, Warrior Women. That's cute. That can't happen." It's funny that they keep making it happen in the movies, though, and it's just not threatening. I still don't like it. Like I think stories are better for reasons we've discussed many times without it. But all of James Cameron's kind of old-fashioned crap, I don't feel personally threatened by it. I don't feel like I'm going to go out and try and save the whales after watching this movie, or I'm just so far past any of his propaganda. Would I show this movie to my daughters when they get old enough? No way.
Yeah, that's where you come back around again, is
Right.
when your daughter's 13 and would easily buy into all this stuff.
Right. And then maybe I go see the movie and I don't even see it with her. I just go see it with you guys, and I'm actively angry because I'm like, this movie is lying to someone that I love who's vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then
All her friends are going to go see it. They're going to be excited about it. She's not going to be allowed to go see it. She's going to feel like you're gypping her, or she is going to go see it and you're not going to realize that's what's happening. And then she's going to come back excited about it. And you're going to have to tell her why it sucked. And all those things are realities now. And her grandparents are going to be looking for the latest thing that's cool in the culture to be,
right.
Giving her Christmas presents about, it's all going to be a thing.
Yeah. And I'll have to disarm her when she's like shooting the grandparents with the bow and stuff like that. So that's, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't begrudge anyone not liking this movie. I just, as a single today movie going experience for me personally, I'm just like, whatever. It's fun. The flora and fauna is pretty. The music's pretty.
There's some good action.
There's some good action. The story carries you along. All the world
The music's
building.
not that great.
The music's not that great. Nothing is that great. But I mean, the visual effects are genuinely that great, I guess. They are.
It's like
really
a
good.
little bit of music along with some Hans Zimmer womps and
Yeah.
rap thrown in.
Well, when the shark was chasing him, they just did dun 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 dun.
I didn't even notice. Yeah.
There was some stuff that was like that was just like
Well, there were a bunch of little homages. even I wondered if there was when he comes out of the water, there's pretty Apocalypse Now.
Yes, that was nice.
So there were a bunch of little things like that I thought. But yeah, there are definitely some major Jaws homages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we always have people. Well, go ahead. You want to say something?
I was just going to say regarding the visuals, I did feel at times like I was watching a very, very, very long video game cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I don't like video game cutscenes from back in the day. I always used to like those. But the CG did take its toll.
Right.
Like the CG and the way that he moved the camera and built the world started to take its toll. And I
Well,
was like,
You have these scenes where it is 100%.
Yeah.
100% CGI. Every leaf, every thing, every blade of grass. Like he did not go shoot some location and augment anything, and so it's all entirely constructed in this digital world, and it's like it is so far beyond all the other things that have lived in Uncanny Valley before it, but it's still like it's not quite right enough to really like.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very right in a sense that you don't like because it's rather sensual in a way that I don't remember from the first one.
There is a lot of nakedness in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's not just negative. We
boys.
should tell people, just from the beginning. It's not just breasts. It's breasts with nipples. It's
Avatar, National Geographic edition.
Yeah, it's very National Geographic.
I couldn't believe he did the old trope of the first time that the kid sees a hot girl, she comes out of the water, and I was like, wow, I thought
and
that
then
was...
they have the moment where they notice each other and blush, and
I thought that was retired a few years ago, but apparently not. Yeah, I mean, I should say I'm not defending it. Like sometimes people will say after we go hard on a movie, like a Marvel movie or something, I've had people say to me like, "It's just a movie. Like, why do you care that much?" That's not what I'm saying. I think this movie is worth caring about. I think it will affect people badly. I think it's worth being angry about. It's worth objecting to. Do I think the whole industry should get torn to pieces? Sure.
That's how some people will feel.
Yeah, well, they're welcome to it. They don't have to go see Avatar. I saw it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So who had more fun? Me.
Yes, you did.
I enjoyed James Cameron's storytelling techniques and his sturdy craftsmanship and the visuals. And yes, the music was kind of repetitive and stupid, but it got the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it was the closest thing to stepping back into the 80s or something, but with modern technology.
Yeah.
If you'd not seen Alien or Aliens, going and rediscovering a movie like that for the first time, it's kind of like that, but prettier.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's so few movies that come out where I'm like, oh, that's going to be exciting. And then you go and you sit and you eat your popcorn and it actually just gives you the experience of a big blockbuster movie. Like that happens so rarely anymore that I actually feel satisfied by those things. I mean, Top Gun Maverick did that for a lot of people, and I love Top Gun Maverick, but it's also just not my thing. I like sci-fi. I like Cowboys and Indians. Even if you're reversing it, I still think it's a fun, basic dynamic to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like spiritual warriors versus crass people that have all the tech. I mean, that's Star Wars. That's
the people that had the tech never felt like the tech gave them any advantage in this one. That's for sure.
No, they basically got slaughtered.
Yeah, they just they're no match for natives on horses with bows and arrows.
Yeah, that was where I did feel the most like Ben's point of view, where I'm just like, this is really ugly and it really hates me and I really therefore hate it, was when you had some action scenes where, they were just killing the crap out of not mech suits, but just people. It's like they're so overpowered. It's kind of the Matrix lobby paradigm. It's just like, guys, this isn't actually an action scene. This is just a murder scene. Like they do not pose any threat to you whatsoever. And yet
just blowing them out of the water.
You're just blowing them out of the water. But there were some fun mech suits. There were these crab mech suits, and James Cameron's the kind of filmmaker that if there's a crab mech suit, there's going to be a guy in the crab mech suit, and he's going to go, and then he's going to make the two claws kind of pound the fist together.
Yeah. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff
full
like
of
that.
stuff like that.
Oh my goodness.
Edie Falco plays a general, and she's sipping coffee. She's in a mech suit, and she's not holding the coffee, even though her hand is free. The
arm is holding it.
And so that's just the kind of visual generosity and wit that George Lucas always had in his Star Wars movies. And I just enjoyed the movie on that level. Like there's just always something to look at, something in the corner of the frame, something fun to enjoy.
Yeah, I got some of that feeling too. Even just like, oh, they're going to be walking to their new huts in the new water nation capital, and where Lucas would put in a puppet, Cameron puts in a creature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, this scene did not have to have new creatures poking their heads out of the corner of the screen, but he thought it did, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. A lot to see.
The flora and fauna and the little flowers with little tendrils that reach out, stuff like that. The planets in the background, whatever planet Pandora. Is Pandora the moon, or are we on Pandora's moon?
The moon.
Okay.
This is a real life place in our solar system.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I thought it was the name of the planet. Okay.
The Pandora is the moon of Jupiter in real life.
Okay.
But that's not the story that the movie's telling, right?
Yes. We're in our own solar system
On Pandora.
on actual Pandora.
Which is the moon. I see.
Which is the
Which
moon
is
of
the-
Jupiter, though? Because I hate to break it to the movie, but we already know there's not stuff on the moon of Jupiter, don't we?
Saturn, actually. Pandora is the moon of Saturn.
Huh.
Okay, so, all right. Maybe I'm crazy. Pandora is an inner satellite of Saturn. So there was a time, I think, when it was believed that Pandora could have water on it. We've got pictures of it now, and it don't. But let me look it up, because I'm going to just guess that he just moved it.
Yeah.
Maybe that was his original. Okay, so we're in Alpha Centauri. This is where we're actually at. And Pandora is the fifth moon of the gas giant Polyphemus, which orbits Alpha Centauri A. So there's our actual locale in this universe. But I'm willing to bet, because I'm pretty sure that for a while, Pandora was actually one of the places in our own solar system
Where we thought there could be life.
where we thought that there could be life,
Huh.
one of the most likely candidates.
Huh.
Yeah. And then I bet that's where it started, and then I bet it just sort of morphed but kept the name.
Huh.
But I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know jack about this franchise.
Nor should you.
Like I said, I saw it, I think, on Redbox a couple years after it came out.
I won't quote you, but I will applaud you for not wasting your time. What else is there to say? There's a pregnant lady that goes into battle. That's a thing you'll see. Might see a headline or two, either praising or decrying. It's kind of a new variation on ye old cliche of the stupid patriarchal man being like, "You can't go with us," and the woman being like, "I will." And
It doesn't occur to them to say that she shouldn't. Like, we don't have an objection based on her being pregnant.
well, visually we do, because he touches her stomach when he stops her when she's going to grab her spear, and he says, "You can't go," and touches her stomach, and then she says whatever badass line she says, and
Got past me, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
well, when you have an eye for visual storytelling like I do, I guess you just pick up on little details like that. The subtle flavors of Avatar: The Way of Water.
When you've got a massive headache in a 3D, 3-hour-long movie,
Yeah. Well,
sometimes
also true.
Oh, man.
certain details just slip past you, too.
Yeah. Maybe we already talked about her. Did we already talk about her at the beginning of this podcast?
About
About-
what?
The pregnant lady going into
We
battle.
probably did.
No, I don't think so.
I still think that that's James Cameron's old-fashioned feminism from...
He said he went down the rabbit hole of feminist empowerment, and he wanted to go all the way down. Somebody, while we were in the theater, actually sent me an article with the quote, to go all the way down the rabbit hole of female empowerment, and quote. Oh, so at one point during their talk, this interview he gave for Variety, after recalling how during his viewing of the Avatar sequel, he both, quote, was really taken by the fact that Neytiri, so he Saldana's character, whatever her name actually is, hunts while she's pregnant, and had noticed that one of the characters goes into battle pregnant. Rodriguez asked Cameron, why was that important? Quote, everybody's always talking about female empowerment, Cameron explained to his former Alita Battle Angel collaborator.
Mhm.
But what is such a big part of a woman's life that we as men don't experience? And I thought, well, if you're really going to go all the way down the rabbit hole of female empowerment, let's have a female warrior who's 6 months pregnant in battle. It doesn't happen in our society. Probably hasn't happened for hundreds of years. What? But I guarantee you, back in the day, women had to fight for survival and protect their children. And it didn't matter if they were pregnant. And pregnant women are more capable of being a lot more athletic than we as a culture acknowledge.
What?
Man,
I thought, let's take the real boundaries off. To me, it was the last bastion that you don't see. Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, all these other amazing women come up, but they're not moms and they're not pregnant while they're fighting evil. End of quote.
See,
Oh my goodness.
yes, I just don't feel threatened. This is why
James Cameron.
Well, also for a true radical feminist, he
Oh
puts
my
way too much of
goodness.
an emphasis on motherhood in this movie. Like
That's right.
It's just by accident a very kind of pro-lifey feeling. Kind of babies are special and motherhood is special, and like Brie Larson would not be happy to star in this movie. And when they're not being warrior women, like
Spider-Verse is going to have pregnant mom fighting.
Oh, lame.
Jessica Drew.
No.
No, that's such a weird hill to die on. I guess it's not. Oh, well. Everything sucks.
Yes, everything's terrible.
The trailer for Spider-Verse sucked, but I'm sure it'll be good. Minus this pregnant lady. And all the other feminism that we'll just forgive and not even talk about because they've battered us into submission.
So I'm just looking forward to the sequel where we go to the Fire Nation.
That we're going to do the way of...
We've been to the
forest,
which I think is the air, right? Because we fly through the trees.
We've done air,
we've airbend,
earth.
and then we had a water bender. And so I think it's either earth or fire is next.
I'm okay with fire.
I think fire should be next.
What do not want, because I'm so bored by it from its overuse in Star Wars and Dune and things like that. I do not want desert Na'vi. That sounds so boring.
Well, doesn't look like there's any, like if you look at the pictures of zoom out Pandora, it doesn't look like there's any space. There's not a brown.
That's true. I'd take underground Na'vi. I'd take cave Na'vi. That'd be fun. Yeah.
That would be, I think, the other place to go. So you've done the forest in the air, you do the water, then you do the mountains and fire, and then you do the underground caves in the earth and create all the cool fire creatures that you could create. Could be super fun.
Okay, great. And then we can have, in episode 4 or 5, we can have Jake and Natiri's kids get taken back to Earth, which is an apocalyptic hellscape now, and they have to, although kids can't travel, kids can't cryo-freeze, so that might be a problem. But let's get these people to Earth. Let's see what's going on planet Earth.
Well, what we'll end up doing is the great mother will give a seed. And then we'll get to go back to Earth and plant a tree, a great tree. And instead of Earth or Pandora being terraformed into Earth, as our bigger plot is, Earth will be terraformed into Pandora. But that'll just be the end of.
Yeah, well, the original Pandora probably at this point has been completely overrun by the bad guys and burned to a crisp.
Nah, they'll win in both places.
That's just not as poignant.
Nope, they'll win. They'll win. This is James Cameron, the environmentalist idealist. So I think what will actually happen is they're trying to terraform and destroy this place, and love will win, and the Great Mother will show the way, and the Pandorans will show the way for restoring Earth. And so we'll get our own Great Mother tree that helps build an environment that we can, or rebuild the environment that we've destroyed.
Yeah,
Jake's got to complete the task in terms of the hero of actually not just running off and becoming other, but really healing. Really, he's got to go. He's got to go back home. He's got to bring it back around.
Yeah, I guess I could see it.
If you were James Cameron and you were arcing this thing, and I mean, I think that's what seems like the kind of thing that he would do, and it looks like the pieces are on the table for that sort of thing to happen. Like, what part of why we have, I mean, for goodness sake, what we actually have is we have a virgin birth of a
human Na'vi hybrid.
A human Na'vi hybrid who has a deep connection. She's our waterbender, and she has a deep connection to the Great Mother in a way that nobody else does, and nobody can understand, and nobody even knows how to begin to understand. So she's got to then take and be the one to go back and create it's just right there. I feel like it's right there. I feel like it's just all laid out. That's the way that anything else is.
You are usually right about these things. I would say James Cameron might be a little smarter than that, though. A little smarter than the dumbest version.
This is what you always say.
I know, but and you're always like, here's the stupid thing that Star Wars is going to do, and I'm like, no, that's stupid. They're going to do something better, and then you're right. I mean, it's happened three or four times. But James Cameron, here's what I think James Cameron does understand. He understands that negative propaganda is more powerful than positive propaganda in a lot of ways. So having Pandora just get toasted is a pretty powerful messaging. Number two, he understands stakes. And if you end that fourth movie with Pandora's toast, and then I got to go see that fifth movie to find out what's going to happen, that's not a bad place. I mean, they could be like regrowing Pandora too. You know, we could have trees of life on both planets, maybe. But I just think in order for it to feel meaningful, Pandora as an environment actually has to suffer after 2 or 3 movies.
Pandora will suffer, but I don't think it'll be decimated. I think Pandora wins.
Pandora wins, man.
And once you've opened Pandora's box.
Well, it wasn't Pandora's fault that she had that box. Or no, was it? It was Pandora's fault that she had that. No.
It was her fault that she opened it.
Yeah, the gods gave her the box and said, don't open this. And then just like some dumb,
capricious gods.
Dumb lady.
Just kidding.
Puny god.
There's only one god, ma'am, and he doesn't dress like. Since we're gonna
just quote lines from movies about gods in different universes.
Apparently, we're gravitating toward the MCU.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
I went back for the first time and watched an MCU movie the other day.
Which one?
Iron Man 3.
Ooh, how was that choice?
It was bad, but it was still fun.
It's a pretty fun movie still.
It's got a lot of fun to it.
I would say it's got about an hour of fun. It's got about 2 hours of movie.
It's a Christmas movie. You know, the kids were like, we had talked about the Christmas movies that aren't really Christmas movies. And so I had talked about that sort of thing in the sermon or whatever.
Right.
And they were asking about, Die Hard what's Die Hard? What's that movie that you were making a joke about? So I told them about it, and I listed off a couple other Christmas movies that aren't Christmas movies. Iron Man 3 is one of them. Like, that makes lists that doesn't belong really on lists, but it happens at Christmas time.
I think most Shane Black movies happen at Christmas time, actually.
Well, Shane Black has a couple tricks, and he's pretty good at them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I liked Iron Man 3.
It's better than Iron Man 2.
Oh, yeah.
It still works as an action movie. We watched it a few months ago, I feel like.
Man, everybody's watching Iron Man 3. Maybe we'll have to watch Iron Man 3.
It's just one of those like movies that it's got a little bit to it, and it also feels like you neglected it maybe a little bit, or maybe a little bit too much. Shane Black did something different a little bit that nobody else in the MCU was doing, and he got the kibosh put on him. But it makes you wonder, like, well, I don't know. Like, I kind of wish the MCU Feige would have let Shane Black play a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was some creativity here that, I don't know.
Yeah, there was. The action scenes are more creative than almost
the
any
action
other
scenes are pretty creative.
Marvel
They actually
movies.
did a cool live action stunt, you know, in that.
Oh, the freediving stuff.
The freediving stuff is a live action stunt.
It's awesome.
There's some cool things that are fun, and Tony's. It's the best sort of like really finding Tony's. But that's the movie that really gives you the I Am Iron Man payoff.
Yes.
In Endgame. That's the real setup, more than the first Iron Man movie.
True. I would agree with that. Yeah, I guess it's a good movie. I think when I think of it, I think of Guy Ritchie as a fire monster. Or not Guy Ritchie. Guy Pearce.
Guy
I'm just
Pearce.
like, who needs that? I'm not.
Yeah, no, that was really bad.
What's so bad about it? I mean, he's generic, but what's...
It's because he's not just generic. It's like he's working so hard to give Val Kilmer vibes. And Downey and Val Kilmer have played opposite each other, and like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or whatever. I think maybe another movie.
That's a Shane Black movie, yeah.
Which is a Shane Black movie, right? So it's like, well, he wanted Val Kilmer, couldn't get him, and then he hired Guy Pearce to play the part that was written for Val Kilmer, and it just feels to me very off-putting. Like it just doesn't. It's just wrong. Like it's just like I see that it just feels so much like this was written to be another Downey Kilmer team up that doesn't.
To me, it just felt like Guy
I've
Pearce
always
being
felt that way.
Guy Pearce, but maybe I'm missing it. Because I always feel like Guy Pearce is kind of has an odd-mannered thing that reminds me of Val Kilmer, almost always going on.
Did you ever see that movie
That
where
may be true.
Guy Pearce has to break the president's daughter out of a space station?
Wait, what?
It's like an Escape from New York kind of thing, but on a space station. And Guy Pearce is kind of like Kurt Russell.
No, I can't even picture this.
Good little B movie. It's like from the Luc Besson studio of crummy B movies like The Transporter and stuff. But
Oh, I think I've heard of this. What's it? No. Because there's another like B movie sci-fi thing with Gary Sinise called Imposter that I never saw.
yeah.
But is that just the same era, same
yeah,
style?
and this one has a similar one word,
Yeah, okay. No,
title.
I don't know what this is.
Unbroken or Imprisoned or...
I don't know what this is. I don't know what I've liked Guy Pearce in except Memento, where he's awesome.
I usually like Guy Pearce.
Not that I like Memento anymore, but
Yeah, I don't know. You tell how exciting it is to talk about Avatar. We've now spent at least a sixth of this podcast talking about Iron Man 3.
yeah, yep.
Guy Pearce. I
was surprised too of how much my kids have forgotten of the MCU. Watching that movie.
It's Teflonish.
Yeah, well, they'd forgotten. They had not. It was like they hadn't seen it. Well, like they hadn't seen any of. Just like they just hadn't seen it.
Interesting.
Why has he got that thing on his chest?
Oh, that bad, huh?
Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
that bad, like that bad. It's like,
Wow.
That doesn't bode
seriously,
well.
like nobody remembers anything except for some highlights from Avengers movies.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, they repeat so many motifs and ideas and character beats that it's like, is this the one where Tony's feels bad about everything, or the one that he feels good about everything? And that
Well, half the kids are like, he's already dead when I put it on.
Yeah.
Oh well.
This is the one where he gives up on being Iron Man again.
Is this the one where he has to learn that it's not the hammer? I mean, not the suit. I mean, not the suit. I mean, not the suit. Which character is this again, learning this exact same thing?
This is the one with random employee of Tony Stark's who felt slighted and became a supervillain. That's maybe at least two, maybe more. Oh, brother. Guy Pearce. What a man.
He was never an employee, Guy Pearce, was it?
No, he just tried to accost him at a Christmas party with an idea or something
Got
like that.
slighted.
That's right, yeah.
Still, the past comes
But it was
back
a great
to haunt
idea. It
us.
was an idea that made him into a superhero, apparently more powerful than Captain America, because he sure did beat the crap out of Tony multiple times.
Yep.
In a way that Cap never could.
But then Gwyneth Paltrow wore a halter top and kicked him or something like that. It's coming back to me.
She
Yeah,
did
that's right.
she did something with like a grenade or a bomb or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Good for her.
It took an awful lot of killing to kill Guy Pearce in that movie.
Yes.
He's pretty much invincible.
Just keeps coming. He's the Rasputin of the MCU.
All the other Iron Man suits could kill the former like Black Ops guys.
They didn't have as much control, Jake.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
I see, yeah.
Yep. But it made a lot of sense when at the end when he fought him, all the other suits were just they're flying around, but they couldn't come and help.
Yeah.
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 It's not a movie for thinking about exactly. I mean, it's a movie that wants you to think that it's a movie where you can think about things, which is still kind of fun in its way.
It had some fun things.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fine. He loses his powers. And
So
then
you were trying to get us back to Avatar.
Nah,
I
who
really
cares?
wanted to stick with Iron Man 3 for a minute.
Ben, how many mech suits out of 400 do you give to Iron Man 3?
Sorry, Iron Man 3. I was thinking of Avatar. Out of 400, that's hard. I'd probably give it like 325.
I don't know. I think that might be fair. Maybe we compare it to what MCU movies do you want to go back and watch?
Iron Man 3. That's the only one.
So
Yeah, it's funny that it's like the only, when you think about it, you're like, well, this movie actually feels crafted and like it's a thing.
I mean, I guess I'd rather watch Iron Man 1. I've just seen it enough that I don't need to see it again, but it is a much better movie than Iron Man 3, I would say.
Yeah, no, Iron Man 1 is worse.
Is it?
Part of the
I haven't
reason
gone
why,
back.
so it's Jon Favreau cracking the code, so it's going to have all kinds of things in it that end up getting trimmed out. Some of that's going to be sexuality, right?
Yep.
Tony's going to be much more of a playboy, and you're going to show him in bed with a girl or something like that. But as a movie, it really works as a movie. It's interesting. It's fun. It's funny. It just brings a lot to the table. And it was like boom, he cracked the code. And so, but you can go back and watch the first Iron Man and be like, wow, we could have gone in so many cool directions.
Yeah.
Building out of this thing.
Then we did Iron Man 2.
But yeah, everything is consistently moving towards lowest common denominator.
Yeah, I mean, it is true that if I had to watch an MCU movie right now, I would watch Iron Man 3. But I don't know that I would be happy to have to watch an MCU movie right now. So,
Yeah.
how many mech suits out of 400 do you give to Avatar, The Way of Water? You both gave 325 to Iron Man 3.
The other amazing thing is that the dumbest conceit is Tony's going to drive. Oh, yeah, he is an engineer. He can come up with things. So he's going to go to a hardware store and he's going to buy a bunch of things and put together like pneumatic guns.
I thought that was cool. What's wrong with that?
Because he's Tony Stark and he could have driven to a gun shop. So he goes and drives to a hardware store, builds pneumatic guns, and then uses them to disarm people and then take their guns and use their guns.
Yeah, shop was
And then
closed.
he shoots up a bunch of people with their guns.
I think the gun store was closed that day.
Yeah.
It's just, he's Tony Stark. He's got a credit card. He's got people he can call.
He had to wait for the background check. There you go. Couldn't get a gun that day. Probably never bought a gun in his life, even though he is the world's most famous arms manufacturer.
Right. Yeah. But in between Tennessee, and Miami, since he drives from Tennessee to Miami, he could not find any place along the way from Tennessee to Miami.
They'd be looking for him at the gun shops.
Yeah.
The bad guys. They have the eyes everywhere.
Uh-huh. I'm just going to keep bringing this back to Iron Man.
I give Avatar Way of Water, I want to give it like 50 or less. It is true that I didn't hate watching all of it. I just hate it overall as a thing. So
Give it 50. Speak your truth, man.
I'm giving it 50.
All right.
Out of how many?
400.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's very harsh, but for a movie that
I hate it.
was
I
just
really hate
was
it.
pleasant to sit there and let wash over you.
It was all the nakedness. If it weren't for that, it'd probably get 60 or 100. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 200 out of 400.
There. Okay. Well, I'm going to give it.
Oh, wait, 199. Just to say, it doesn't tip the scales into anything I will ever go back and spend another second on again in my life.
I'm excited to see it again in theaters, IMAX 3D. Take my wife, take my dog, take my babies. I think everybody needs to swim in the water. Take a little visit to Pandora. Loved it. I'm going to give it 1,000 mech suits
Out of 400.
Out of 400.
Wow.
What a great time at the movies. I'll give it 300. It was fine. It was good. Yeah, as a piece of moral content that I would ever want to show to my kids, I'll give it 0. I hate it more than Ben. But I, in fact,
You suck.
am not one of my kids. I have the maturity to
burn.
not want to save the whales. I say burn the whales.
Uh-huh.
I like that evil whaling guy that got his arm cut off. That was cool. Good movie. Good movie.
Sanity at the Movies recommends.
Yeah. Run, don't walk. To Avatar. Oh, I don't know. Put it this way. If you're the kind of person that thinks you will enjoy Avatar: The Way of Water, which I don't know how many of those people listen to our podcast, but you probably will. It's all that you expected it to be and more and less.
It is. I don't deny it.
If you're the kind of person that thinks you will hate Avatar: Way of Water, the movie is not going to change your mind at all. If you like brainless spectacle.
If you're the kind of person that thinks Avatar Way of Water hates you, you're right.
Yeah. And I do not dispute that at all. James Cameron is a garbage human being, always has been. This movie is aggressive and it's garbage propaganda and it's evil. And I don't think that pregnant women should fight, and it's a callous age that would make that a moment of, triumph for the sexes or something like that. So, yeah, I admit it. It's crap, but whatever. What do you want from me? Fine, I'll give it 2 mech suits.
Out of 2.
Out of 2, yeah. Ben, if you had real courage, you would have given it 2 mech suits, but you had to give it 50 as throwing a piece of meat to the culture.
I guess so. You're right. I'm the worst.
You're the worst. Old sellout
Apparently,
soldier.
I'm the worst. I've given it the highest rating of us all.
No, I'm giving it 1,000. I'm sticking with my original opinion. All right. And speaking of my original opinion, my opinion of our patron award choice of awesomeness winner, whatever we call that thing, is that he or she is a wonderful person. Oh, it's Caitlin. What makes Caitlin so great, guys?
If Caitlin were pregnant and needed to fight the mech suit warriors for her children, she wouldn't do it. She would respect God's created order. Caitlin, that would take a lot of courage.
Whoa,
Good
Caitlin, whole family getting massacred by the mech suit people.
All right,
Refuses
maybe it's a bad example, but
she'd let the men wear the mech suits.
wear the mech suits.
I'll tell you who wears the mech suit in my family. Oh, my goodness. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for journeying with us to the planet of Pandora and Alpha Centauri. Thanks for just being you, listener. Oh, I just hit the totally wrong button. There we go. Thank you for being you. Thank you for journeying with us to Pandora. Thank you for experiencing the way of water. And until next time,